Newsflash, no one really likes this current version of Jon Kent we're getting. Now, if you read comics, that's not a surprise to you, because ever since Bendis took over, Jon Kent's character has just gone downhill. It's been horrible. The age up happened. Tom Taylor took over. It's been bad. But you may just think, oh, maybe that's just you that thinks that, or a few fans, but now it's been more or less confirmed that everyone thinks that for the most part, because we had a tweet that went viral. So someone put out, a fan put out a tweet saying, they made Superman looking like a generic-ass TikTok F-boy, and that tweet got 153,000 likes. So that kind of confirms that everyone feels the same way about Jon Kent. Obviously, some of the people liking that are just people that don't read comics, know nothing about what's going on, don't even know Jon Kent exists, and when they see that, because it's phrased as Superman, they think, oh, this is like Clark Kent Superman. And so there is some of that, but for the most part, I think most people know it's Jon Kent. If you look at the replies and the quote tweets, most people know it's Jon Kent. And yeah, people aren't liking this just because they think that he looks stupid, but it's also because no one likes the character of Jon Kent currently. Everything that's been done with him has been horrible. He's such a shallow character now. He doesn't do anything. He's not heroic. He's very annoying. He just kind of makes speeches. His boyfriend is one of the worst characters in comics. Jay Nakamura is such a bland, boring-ass character. And Tom Taylor's just not doing well with him, which is weird because Tom Taylor is currently writing Deceased. And Jon Kent is in Deceased, and Jon Kent is written very well. But in the actual main book, the main continuity book, Superman of Kal-El, Tom Taylor writes Jon Kent completely differently, and he's horrible. My theory on that is, I think that when it comes to the main book, because it is technically the Superman title, because, for years you have Action Comics as one title and Superman as the other, and they're both pretty big titles under the DC Comics banner, he thinks that he has, something huge here. He's like, oh, this is the Superman book. I have to make a social change. I have to, do something. So he has to comment on the real world politics and what's going on and all that stuff. And so he tries to make a social message. He has an agenda with it. To where with Deceased, he's like, oh, this is just some random Elseworlds miniseries that has nothing to do with the real world. I can just focus on the story and making the characters likable and stuff. And so that's what he does. That's my theory anyways. I think with Superman of Kal-El, he feels like an obligation, like he has to have some type of social message, to where with Deceased, he's like, no, I can just focus on making a cool zombie Elseworld story. Or maybe as a ghostwriter, because it feels completely different. It's so weird. Jon Kent in that book is great, but Jon Kent in Superman of Kal-El is horrible. Well, it is nice to know now that, well, I basically already knew this, but it's over the past couple of weeks, you've seen it even more, or months or so, that no one really likes this version of Jon Kent, not just from this tweet, but if you even just look up people talking about Tom Taylor on Twitter, most of his people talking about how horribly he is at writing Jon and how it just feels pandering and not like he's actually doing anything. Because you see that the gay and bisexual people that the change to Jon Kent when he made him bisexual was made for don't like it. You see a lot of people from the LGBT community on Twitter talking about how Tom Taylor does not know how to write a bisexual character and is doing this horribly. So it's funny because Tom Taylor very clearly did this to pander to those people, but it's not working. They don't like it. So the original fans of Jon Kent don't like Jon Kent. The LGBTQ community that was supposed to, come in droves and read the book and just be like, yes, finally someone represent us, don't like it. So the book essentially is for Tom Taylor and CNN, and that's it. No one likes this book. And it's very interesting to see that play out. And I'm happy it's going this way because Tom Taylor is doing a horrible job with this. I'm hoping that DC sees this with this tweet now going viral, sees that, hey, no one likes this version of Jon. We should do something about it. There's so many different ways they could do it. The most obvious way is when Jon Kent got aged up, if you don't know, during Bendis' run, he ended up going through a wormhole, black hole thing in space, and it took him to Earth 3, where the evil versions of DC characters are, like Owlman, Superwoman, Ultraman, and so he ended up getting tortured by evil versions of his parents, and a lot of stuff happens. He ended up escaping, and he comes back, and when he comes back through the wormhole, he's aged up, because when he's on that planet, it felt like a lot more time and all that. However, space, time travel, all that stuff, how that works. So he aged up from 11 years old to 17 years old. So the obvious way to fix this would be, oh, that wasn't actually Jon that came through the portal. That was the Earth 3 version of Jon. So this has been an imposter this whole time. That's why he kind of acts like a dickhead, is weird, and doesn't act like the Jon we knew. So you have that. That is an easy way to fix it, but they won't do that because they won't be like, hey, the evil version's gay. They're not going to do that because a lot of people will be happy about that. So they're obviously not going to do that, but that would be an easy way to fix it. But there's so many other ways. We're getting the Dawn of the DC, which is sort of like a soft reboot, coming up soon, so they could do something there. I don't think they will. It doesn't sound like they're going to. But I don't understand why DC is just ignoring all of this, because it's been going on for a while now that no one likes the Bendis version of Jon and then the Tom Taylor version of Jon. At first, it seemed like you had some support from it, especially when he came out as bisexual. You had a lot of people being like, yeah. And now it's just gotten to the point where no one likes it. So I'm hoping DC actually listens and does something about this and actually fixes Jon. Not saying, oh, they should make him to where he's not bisexual. Not that. I'm saying de-age him. I don't have a problem with Jon being bisexual, in all honesty, because he's a character without, like, a romantic history, really. He made out with Saturn Girl once after he got aged up. He had a kind of a crush on the neighbor girl when they lived on the farm. But other than that, he didn't really have a romantic history. It's not like Tim Drake, who, has an iconic relationship with Stephanie Brown, or had, sorry, should be past tense, and then they just randomly make him bi after he's been around for, like, 30 years. It's not like that. With Jon, I don't have a problem with his being bi. I do hate Jay Nakamura. I think he should just go die and never be brought up again. He should not exist. Jay Nakamura is a horrible character. So I don't have a problem with Jon being bi. I just think that they should de-age him. He got aged up too quickly. We lost all those years where they could have told so many good stories. There's a lot of things with his journey that we just didn't get to see. It was wasted potential. He got here way too fast. He got the Superman mantle way too fast. He got into a big committed relationship way too fast when he's just 11 years old. Like, there's too much. Like, we need to pump the brakes on this. And yeah, you need to bring in someone who actually understands and likes the character, like Tomasi. Peter Tomasi or Dan Jurgens are the two clear-cut guys. Dan Jurgens created him, and then Tomasi kind of really formed him into the characters we all know and love, or used to. I think either of those guys would be a great choice. But yeah, we need Tom Taylor out of this. He can't write this character. He's horrible at it, and he doesn't know how to write a good story. He doesn't know how to write a heroic story. What he's turned Jon into is horrible. What Bendis turned Jon into is horrible. What Tom Taylor's turned him into is somehow even worse, because he's such a bad character now. Tom Taylor doesn't know how to write heroes. Well, at least in Deceased he does. He just sometimes doesn't want to. It's weird. Like with Nightwing and Superman Son of Kal-el, it's just everything's a social message. And yeah. Anyways, that's my piece on it. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of Jon Kent? I might make a video talking about some other things with Jon Kent, because something more in depth than this just like quickly put together video, because there are some other things about him, what Tom Taylor's done, which are really stupid, and some parallels I've seen that I kind of want to point out. But anyways, I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. What do you think of this whole fiasco with Jon Kent? And do you think DC will actually eventually do something about it? I don't think they're going to de-age him. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I do think that we could potentially get someone else writing him, though, with all this just backlash against Tom Taylor. But who knows? Tom Taylor's got a big DC exclusive contract, and he kind of gets to do whatever he wants. So we'll see. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.
Hey, skinny boy, saucy boy, I be running to the bank. Yeah, you know I hit the gas in the whip full tank. Riding past the ocean while I'm listening to Frank.